Well, hello and welcome to the bedroom of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for November 24th, the day of Contentious Conviviality. Oh, quite the mouthful. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of Contentious Conviviality. We have us an image of, well, it's a crown and two arms holding quills popping out of the top of it. Is that a adequate representation of the day of, what was it again? Contentious Conviviality? Well, who's to say? I don't know. Maybe as we get on with the read, we'll make some kind of connotations for as much. Who's to say? But not altogether all too important. Well, what is important is it's November 24th, and that means it's someone's birthday today. That's right. So wishing you a happy birthday. That's what's important around these here parts. But, you know, maybe this video finds you late. I don't know, days, weeks, months, as is sometimes often the case. You know, busy individuals. Folks aren't necessarily searching for their birthday on the internet. Makes sense. But in any event, if that's the case, I just want to say I hope you had a happy birthday. But for everybody else who's joining us randomly, or more ideally, to celebrate the November 24th birthday, well, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before we dive in with the birthday redirect, something I like to do around these here parts also, and that's roll some dice. It is the DykASSt birthday broadcast, so I like to live up to the namesake, if you like. But I do so more importantly for synchronicity's sake. And here we rolled us a 3 and a 2 for a 5. Now, what is a synchronicity, you're probably wondering? Well, it's just you getting out into the world and letting the universe show you it's with you on your side. But you need a little bit of a benchmark or a waypost, if you like, to really get things underway. So what do you get? Yeah, that's right. You get your mutually agreed upon numbers with you in the universe. Now, you don't necessarily have to go with the numbers I rolled for you. Might not make a lot of sense, but hey, you can stick with them if you like. But it is ideal. You probably get a set of dice. So you can ascribe directional values to number sets and time limits with which to go in those directions. But, you know, once you find yourself a starting point, roll your dice, get your number, get your directional value and your time limit, you set off and you stay eagle-eyed. Not just for your numbers, but for anomalies, things that like grab at you, just kind of based on instinct, something you think is just crying for you to chase after. Well, maybe you don't see anything, so you get to the end of your time limit. Stop, compose yourself, get eagle-eyed, all right? Look for your numbers. Like I said, look for things that are anomalous. Maybe you see somebody wearing something that's just outside of the norm in the area that you're in. I don't know, maybe like a beekeeper's suit amidst a bunch of people in regular garb. You know what? I'd say that screams anomalous. So you know what? Get down on the ground, roll your dice out, get your number, and that'll put just enough time between you and the person in the bee suit and see where they're going to follow them. Yeah, that's right. See where they're headed. It won't seem like you're stalking them so much if you have just a little bit more of a distance between two of you. But once you get your time limit there, your value, maybe they set you down right in front of a building that has your daily numbers and the address. So maybe it's a 23 in this case. Hey, go in that building, see what you see. Go on instinct now. If it's like some dilapidated derelict, you might avoid it. But hey, who's to say? If it looks okay, maybe you head on in, and maybe you just find something that's screaming out that the universe is with you on your path. Maybe it just so happens to be like a crown of some sort, even if it's just like a Burger King crown. That's right. Hey, that lines up with your visual representational image, doesn't it? Maybe some feathers fly by. Who's to say? I think you get the point. But it could just be simple little things like that. I mean, you don't necessarily need an old Burger King crown in your life, do you? No, but it's just indication of the universe with you. So get out there, get excited. See, taste, touch, feel, maybe even smell the magic. Hopefully it's a good smell. That's right. And if you do, you'll see why I suggested it. Hey, you got to do something fun on your birthday, something to kind of get your fires stirred up. So in any event, that's synchronicity, basically in a nutshell. Let's get on with your birthday read. Your month is November, your day is the 24th, your sign is 1 to 3 degrees Sagittarius of the Scorpio Sagittarius Cusp. Last day of it. You are the last one in the period. And your quality and elements is mutable fire. All right, November 24th, the day of contentious conviviality. November 24 people are energetic social beings who have an intense need to be appreciated for their efforts. And this is not to say that they do not spend a good deal of time alone, but just at a glance, their lives will show you how special their friends and acquaintances are to them. Indeed, November 24 people themselves make very loyal friends, and conversely, very bad enemies. And the highly contentious nature of those born on this day can land them in disputes and imbroglios, but also feel their drive to success. November 24 people are not ones to avoid problems, and though they are capable of mollifying others when necessary, prefer to face the truth of a situation squarely. And their love for discussion usually serves as an important social and philosophical outlet. Rarely are they happier than when engaged in a heated debate over a thought-provoking topic. Often due to personal idiosyncrasies with a physical or psychological basis, November 24 people have a distinct feeling early on in life that they are cast from a different mold from other people. And this may not be pleasing feeling for them, since they, like most other people, they want very much to be accepted as part of a group. And indeed, the quest to feel normal can become one of their highest priorities. And this desire to fit in makes them more vulnerable than most to negative influences. No matter how much a November 24 person wishes for a carefree existence, he or she will be beset with internal and external challenges. And this often fuels a desire to have fun, or on the other hand, the tendency to seek refuge in isolation, or perhaps a kind of oscillation between these two escapes. At a more profound level, however, it is the success of their meaningful social relations which validates November 24 people as human beings, giving them a feeling of self-worth and of belonging, and convincing them that they may not be so different from everyone else after all. November 24 people are lively and fun, helpful, perceptive, and generally positive in participating in the life around them. And not infrequently, those born in this day will surround themselves with an army, or at the very least, a tight core, it says in parentheticals there, of friends who protect and appreciate them at social events, ranging from convivial dinners to lively parties. Eating and drinking with friends is one of the chief joys of those born on this day. And those November 24 people who come to accept themselves as they are, and in doing so free themselves from a need to escape, it says in parentheticals, can build a stable and a productive life. Furthermore, they may find the differences between themselves and others are strengths and help cast them in a unique role where they can make a much greater contribution career-wise. All right, how about that for a birthday breakdown? A little bit narrow of focus, not as well-rounded as some of the other birthday breakdowns that I've read, but I would say it still had quite a bit of value. Maybe things that you needed to hear. That's right. So with that being said, the breakdown in the can, let's dive into some notes. I'd like to provide a little bit of a commentary, if you like, on what we just read. Maybe make some connections with things. Maybe we can see where that visual representational image falls in, or maybe not. But in any event, let's get on with my commentary on the breakdown here. November 24, the day of contentious conviviality. You're energetic, social people. I couldn't read what I wrote. You're energetic social people with an intense need to be appreciated for your efforts. All right. Hey, you don't say, right? I think I can get behind that. I feel as though I completely understand. What else do we have here? But maybe I don't know the half of it with how that dynamic affects you. Maybe that's why they mentioned it here. But the reading claims that with just a glance at your life, one can see how important your friends and loved ones are to you. But just as you make loyal friends, you're also said to make bad enemies, all right? To which I say, hey, at least you're getting attention, right? It's a lot better than apathy, one might argue. I think that's a lot worse. Complete indifference, if you like, or don't like, in my case. But maybe you're part of the problem in that regard, all right? Did you ever consider that? As the reading claims, you're contentious, right, by nature. Which leads to disputes and imbroglios, said, or otherwise difficult, complicated situations or entanglements, if you didn't know what that word meant. I certainly did. What else do we have here? But these are also said to press you on in your drive there, just to be successful. So interesting, perhaps admirably, you face your problems squarely instead of avoiding things, all right? And you also apparently love discussion and heated debates over thought-provoking topics, which I'd argue is a rare quality. But maybe it isn't, and I'm just coloring with my own aversion to as much. Not a huge debater myself. But the reading also claims you're probably aware that you're different from others, okay, which may not be pleasing and lead you on to feeling what the reading claims onto this quest to fit in. A word I would say is probably fitting because a lot of times it's going to be an elusive goal, all right? At least that kind of thing. So a quest, all the same. A goal which may make the more valuable. It may make things more valuable to those negative influences. To which the reading furthers, no matter how much you may wish for a carefree existence, you're likely to be saddled with struggle. Oh, nobody wants to hear that. And I would say that probably applies to a lot of folks. But if that seems to be the case, I say maybe just put that idea of a carefree existence to bed entirely, okay? Having that as an immediate concern that never manifests might not be doing you any favors. You might just be focusing on it too much. Why is this always a struggle? Hey, if you just accept it's always going to be a struggle, you can just get on with it, right? And then when the carefree stuff happens, hey, it's going to be that much more of a surprise, I would argue. Well, it's probably a pessimistic way of looking at it, who's to say. But the reading furthers, this may fuel your penchant for escape, all right? So maybe weigh my realist, otherwise pragmatic suggestion altogether, all right? That said, you're fun, lively, helpful, perceptive, and if you're willing to accept yourself and your unique gifts, I'd say you're likely to find some semblance of the stability you're chasing after. And I'd argue that's when you can really start to set yourself towards doing your unreserved best at your life-defining work. That's right. When you put all that stuff to bed and just get on with it, right? Stop getting worried about all them carefree issues. That's going to come, I imagine. It's going to come. That's what hard work is for, to get you to the hump there where you can start coasting. In any event, that's been what I had to say about your birthday breakdown. A little bit disjointed there with my writing, but let's move on to your numbers and planets. Let's see if I can rectify the situation here. Those born on the 24th of the month are ruled by the number 6, as 2 plus 4 equals 6, and by the planet Venus. And because those ruled by the number 6 are magnetic in attracting love and admiration, and since Venus is strongly connected with social interaction, it is a great temptation for some November 24 people to give themselves over to the pursuit of pleasure. A tendency toward addiction and fantasy-oriented states is indicated here as Venus's influences are coupled with those of Pluto as well as Jupiter, the rulers of Scorpio and Sagittarius, respectively. And often love becomes the dominant theme in the lives of those ruled by the number 6. All right, hey, what do I have to say about your numbers and your planets? Let's dive into it here. I got to turn the page, though, first. Here we go. Let's see here. The number 6 in the planet Venus for magnetic attraction, for love and admiration. So maybe you need maybe your need for as much comes with a baked-in gravitational pull for as much. Let's see, don't fight or focus on it so much. Maybe it's coming to you in unexpected ways that you're kind of blind to. That's another reason I bring the dice out. You know what? We're always pretty singular of focus, and I have the blinders on. We don't notice the things that are around us. So maybe the things that you think you're not getting, you're actually getting. It's just not as what do you call it? Brandished across the the main drive there, as you, if you like. Here's some examples I wrote here. Maybe there's an introverted kind of neighbor who always talks to you or gives you a kind word when he doesn't talk to anybody else. Now, it might not say much, but take that on its face. It's probably hard for that person to do that kind of thing. Maybe they always say hi to you. I know I have a neighbor that ignores me completely when I wave at him. I mean, if I look like that, there's probably a good reason. But what else? Or you get greeted at the supermarket by somebody. A lot of times you're passing folks in the aisle and they got the blinders up. They're singular focus on getting them mini wheats. You know what I mean? So look for the small things. Maybe it's just there and you're not picking up on it. That said, apparently there's a great temptation for the pursuit of pleasure. I say approach it modestly, okay? So you aren't let down. Again, that's my pessimistic way of looking at it. There's also apparently a fantasy bend as coupled with Jupiter, Mars, and Pluto. The Venus coupled with your rulers there. A very complex dynamic for other days, maybe too, but it doesn't get as much of an examination here. And because you're ruled by 4 different planets, because you're that last day of the cusp. Well, not because of the last day of the cusp, because you're on that cusp there. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars, as the book says. And then you got the Venus in there. And then Sagittarius is Jupiter. It's got all sorts of different gravitational pulls influence you. So it could very well be that those are the things that are giving you frustration and trouble. Who's to say? But you know what? Maybe if you can give it to that stuff, you can kind of put it on the back burner there, not worry about it as much. So take heed. That may be why. Acceptance. I'd say that's one of the chief through lines here in today's read. It's just accepting things and moving on. And maybe just finding the humor in as much. You're like, yep, that stuff always happens to me. And like, people are like, what are you talking about? Start telling stories, giving examples. And then you have you have that baked into it. And then maybe along the line, when they see something else happens to you again, you can both share a laugh about it. I know that it's not what you want to hear. It's not what you want to do. You don't have to worry about it. But you know what? Take it in stride. Let it be a part of you. All right? In the event, that's been your numbers and your planets. Let's move on to your tarot. Your tarot, one of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies, but it's here in the book. It's your birthday. Let's celebrate, see what it has to say. Maybe we'll make more connections, find something we hadn't thought of before. It doesn't mean we have to go home and start doling out the cards, making our life religion, if you like. But hey, let's just see what it has to say. Emphasizing the last point is the fact that the 6th card of the major arcana is the Lovers, symbolizing the love that unites all of humanity through integration of masculine and feminine polarities. On the good side of this card indicates affections and desires of a high moral and aesthetic and the physical plane. On the bad side, unfulfilled desires, sentimentality, and indecisiveness. All right. That indecisiveness, that's going to get you. Be wary of that. All right, see here. Your tarot, the Lovers, a common number 6 card, symbolic of the love that unites all of humanity. Apt description, I would say, with regard to the breakdown. Let's see, barring those pesky enemies that it says that you're bound to make. Perhaps, right? But the card also speaks to the synthesis of the male and the female polarities, with positives of desire of a high moral and aesthetic, and also a Venus attribute. The bad side, however, unfulfilled desires, sentimentality, and indecisiveness. All right, again, apt. Those are things we got to stay away from. Take in stride. So lean into acceptance, like I said. All right, head those negatives off at the pass or turn them into positives. That's right, full acceptance of the negative. All right, so that's been your tarot. Let's move on to your health. All right, November 24, people love to enjoy themselves. Yeah, I'm picking up on that. And therefore becoming good cooks and culinary connoisseurs can give them great pleasure. They must, however, try not to get swept away on a wave of alcohol or fattening foods. Addictions can be a problem in general, it says in parentheticals. Otherwise, their cardiovascular and digestive systems will directly suffer. And since November 24, people are often up for physical workouts, they should seek out all sorts of vigorous activities with which to be involved, particularly tennis, aerobics, and team sports. I was going to say sports teams, but it's the wrong order. Team sports. The state of their mental health can periodically reflect anxiety as well as depression, unless they do something to get at the root of their problems. Oh, we keep coming back to this. The struggle. But you knew that already from the breakdown. All right, what do I have to say about your health? You love to enjoy yourself, which the reading claims translates to becoming good cooks, connoisseurs, perhaps. Seems like a sweeping generality to me, but hey, you know what? Let's go with it, all right? Don't get swept up in the excess, okay? Alcohol, fatty foods, addictive substances. Moderation, all right? Balance is the last day of the Scorpio influence, and balance has been a through line for Scorpio. Find your balance. Last time I maybe get to say that. Who knows? What else do we have here? Addictive, which can, and be wary of addictive substances which can affect your cardio and digestive systems. Vigorous exercise is also suggested, since you might just be up for as much. But like other folks in this period, mental wellness is a focus. Maybe not to the extent of physical manifestations from stress and your worries and such. That's a huge through line for Scorpios. Maybe more so than any other through line that I've come across this far. So much so that they wouldn't even talk about diet or exercise in a lot of cases, surprisingly. But yeah, maybe keep that in mind. Don't let these things physically manifest themselves and bother you. Head it off at the pass, all right? Also, know yourself. The rest will follow. I think we've said that quite a few times here. But you know what? Let's keep after it. Sometimes you don't take it in until you've heard it that 37th time, and then it clicks, and then you understand. In any event, that's been your health. Let's move on to some advice. Try to even out your life, okay? Once more, here we go. Be more responsible toward yourself and realize what is best for you. Don't run away with your problems, or from your problems, rather. Maybe it's time to run away with them. That's right. If you're not normal, accept it and enjoy it. All right. Hey, I was right in line with the advice there. Common sense is what I would say that is. All right. Your advice, what I have to say here. Even out your life and be responsible toward yourself is what they said. Wow. Like I said. Get to know yourself and have a laugh at the consistencies when they present. That's what else can you do, right? You can get angry about it. What good's that going to do? Sometimes it feels good, but not for very long, all right? Have a laugh. Flip the script on those negatives and turn the negative into a positive, I say, all right? Acceptance, once again, if I haven't drilled down on it enough, especially if you feel like you aren't normal. You know what? Maybe it's just time to accept that you're not. You know what? Because maybe you aren't. Hey, maybe it's a grim reality in some cases for some folks to admit they're not normal. But you know what? Once you realize you're not normal, you might see the value in it, all right? Other people who are normal, sometimes they're boring, right? You don't want to be boring, do you? You want to be accepted. That's right. So you got to do some accepting on your own, I would argue. That's right. Hey, I say that as much for me as I do for you there. So even that's been your advice. Let's move on to your meditation. Oh, your meditation. All right, here we go. Spirit is the food and drink of the universe. Interesting. I don't quite see a connotation, but hey, now maybe that's not for me to interpret. Spirit is the food and drink of the universe. You connoisseur. That's right. You might be a connoisseur. So there's your meditation. I'm not going to throw my spin on it or my interpretation. It's your birthday. That's just for you. But that being said, your meditation in the can, as it were. Let's move on to your strengths and weaknesses. Oh, your strengths and your weaknesses. Let's hold up that objective mirror and let's see what we see. Your where you're good, where you're not so good. All right. Your strengths. Ooh, you're loyal. You're spirited. And you're involved. But your weaknesses. Oh, let's turn that objective mirror around to the side that blows up your face. Shows off all them pock marks that you still got from when you had chicken pox as a 10-year-old there. Yeah, the pock marks, the ones you can't get rid of, even with Botox. That's right. Your weaknesses. You're escapist, you're isolated, and you're argumentative. Oh, see, I didn't like that one, and it put it in a weakness column. Oh, see, I might have a little something going on here. You know what? As far as these weaknesses are concerned, escapist, isolated, I think those are kind of intermingled there. And argumentative, you know what? That just takes work to be able to slough off. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to get involved in this thing. And you know what? You're loyal, you're spirited, and you're involved. Just turn those things onto yourself. Get spirited about not getting in arguments. Get involved in not getting in arguments, all right? When you're involved, you can get out of being an isolationist and escapist. I don't know. I'm an escapist too. Sometimes you need that to decompress. But maybe, you know what? It's on occasion, maybe you try not to lean into that. Just for an experiment. See what you see. Who's to say? You might find, you know what? I can get on without escaping. I don't know. I might have to try that myself there because I don't feel I can get on without escaping. Anyway, those have been your strengths and weaknesses. So let's move on to those born on this day. And when we get into those born on this day, not only you get to see who shares your company, but something I like to do, and that's examine the idea of figuring out our passions. You know, too often I get out in the world and meet individuals and ask them what they do. More importantly, if they like it, and they don't. And why is that? Because they're not doing what they want to do, and they don't know what they were meant to do, more importantly. You know what? I don't know if we can ever figure that out, but we can sure give it the old college try, if you like. And you know what? That requires time, work, and commitment to figuring those things out. And so it's understandable why a lot of people don't know what their passions are. They might have a general idea, but sometimes they also don't know how to get those things into fruition or make them financially viable. And so I think this is the perfect opportunity to not only see who shares your company, but to see what they did to get not only in the book, but to be known for something, right? Now, it might not have been their passions, but you know what? It got them famous or got them a little bit of notoriety. So maybe we can take some inspiration from that. Or maybe me just putting the bug in your ear about it can help stir up the fires for as much. And if there's anything I can do for you on your birthday, oh, I'm hoping it's that. Help you figure out your passions or get you on the path to putting in the time to figuring that out. That's right. So let's get on with it, all right? Those born on this day. And we start off with the individual I wrote my philosophy thesis about, the old capstone there, Baruch Spinoza. That's right, the Dutch-Jewish 17th century philosopher responsible for the ethics and the theologico-political treatise, excommunicated and anathematized by Amsterdam synagogue. That's right. He was putting the, the rabbis to shame with his logic there. One of the foremost Enlightenment philosophers, Baruch Spinoza. All right, we also have Scott Joplin, the greatest ragtime composer and pianist. We have Henry Toulouse-Lautrec, a French artist, and the Moulin Rouge poster designer, and crippled in riding accidents, and it said died of a stroke at age 37. So yeah, just remember, you could always get taken out early, all right? Or too early. You got to get some stuff done before then. We have Zachary Taylor, the U.S. president, Old Rough and Ready. How's that for a nickname? Where I lost my place. Old Rough and Ready. U.S. Army Major General, outnumbered 4-1 and defeated at Santa Ana in the Mexican War. We also have Oscar Robertson, the Hall of Fame basketball guard, third in the NBA career assists, 9-time All-NBA MVP. We also have William F. Buckley, the conservative publisher of National Review and a syndicated columnist and a TV host. We also have John Knox, a Scottish religious reformer, Teddy Wilson, a jazz stride pianist. We also have Alfred Schnitke, I think is what it is there. Russian modern composer. John Valit Lindsay, a New York mayor, 5 battle stars in World War II. We also have Georgia Moscone, a San Francisco mayor, and was assassinated, it says. All right, let's pick the energy back up. Hate to hear those things. Geraldine Fitzgerald, a film actress. We also have Frances Hodgkin Burnett, British children's novelist of The Secret Garden. That's right, I've heard of that one. Al Cohen, a jazz tenor saxophonist. All right, another jazz saxophonist. You know what? We've been coming up kind of rarities on the jazz saxophonists the past few days. And I tell you what, they always have a jazz saxophonist, so you help buck a trend there. We also have Bat Masterson, a U.S. Marshal, Ronald V. Dellums, U.S. Congressman, state of California, Lawrence Stern, British novelist of Tristram Shandy, Paul Tagliabue, an NFL football commissioner and an attorney, and Junipero Sierra, a Spanish California missionary, and finally, Marlin Fitzwater, the Bush press secretary. Which one? I'm not sure. Actually, it was probably George H. on account of this book was published back in 1994. And GW hadn't ridden up there just yet. Any event, this has been Those Born on This Day. We had a lot of politicians as well as artists. What else do we have there? We finally had another jazz saxophonist getting us back on track there, if you like. Who was the old rough and ready? Who was a president? I mean, had some people with some nicknames in there. How about that? You know what? Look, I don't know if that's going to help you figure out your own passions or have you draw inspiration from as much. But you know what? Like I said, maybe just putting the bug in your ear about it's going to help you stir up them fires. Because like I said, if there's anything I can do for you on your birthday, it's help you figure out what's going to get you out of bed in the morning doing backflips to get on and into your day. Because I think it's huge. It's important to make life tolerable, right? But not just tolerable. Enjoyable and fulfilling. That's right. So hopefully that did as much. But that being said, that essentially rounds out your birthday read. I know, all too soon, right? Yeah, right. Except to say your season is fall. Your sign, once again, is Sagittarius of the Scorpio. Sagittarius Cusp. Last day of it. And your quality and elements is mutable fire. What does that mean? Well, that's a different video altogether. So I'll leave that at the end there for you. But in any event, this has been November 24th, the day of contentious conviviality. We didn't really make any connotations with the arms holding up the quills and the crown. I threw the Burger King crown in the example, so whatever. But this has been The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Hugh Stelfers. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description if you want to dive in further, find out more about your zodiac, find out other people's birthdays. This thing makes a great coffee table book, and you're someone who likes to have fun, friends and all that. You know what? Put this out on your coffee table. Get the conversation started, for better or for worse. That's right. It's about acceptance, if you don't recall there. Help them accept things too. You know what? They're probably going to be like, that's not me at all. But you're probably going to be like, that's totally you. You know what? Going to get the conversation started, for better or worse, like I said. But again, that's not what's important here. No, what's important here? Wishing you a happy birthday. So happy birthday. And for everybody else who joined us randomly or, to celebrate, I want to say, I hope you enjoyed yourself and you join us for your birthday read. But lest I forget, that's right, your daily numbers. Get out there and let the universe show you it's with you on your path. Stir things up a bit, all right? Get out there, see, taste, touch, feel, and smell the magic. That's right. And if you do, you're going to see why I recommended it. All right. Hey, once again, happy birthday. Take care of yourselves. Accept it, all right? Accept it.